Actually, the committee is taking place right now, so this is why I was coming back and forward from the room. I'm sorry not able to spend more time with you today. So what is the PRAC? I've prepared just a set of slides to go through the main tasks and the main functions. The PRAC is one of the new 7 scientific committees of the agency. It was created to ensure the availability of the necessary expertise and resources for pharmacovigilance assessment at union level. And this was the need of a new committee was identified after the thorough impact assessment was launched by the Commission. And the PRAC, of course, is supervising all the new activities that are introduced by the new legislation. The PRAC is the most recently established committee, and we just had a few meetings so far, and one of these has been like just an organizational one to agree on the first rules of procedures. And the PRAC basically has had a staggered approach, involvement in all procedures. So now all the procedures are growing, and we are going towards a full agenda for next year, because you know that not all provisions have already started. As I said, it met first in July and is meeting now on a monthly basis. It meets between the dates of the CHMP and meets generally for 4 days. What are the members of the PRAC? Actually, what is the composition? Because we still don't have the full membership. We have 27 member states. All the member states have a member and an alternate. The alternate votes when the member is not available. We have 3 member states, Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. Actually, Liechtenstein has delegated its participation to Austria. We have 10 members nominated by the Commission, 6 independent scientific experts, representatives for healthcare professionals, and representatives for patient organizations. You know very well that the nomination process for members appointed by the Commission as regards the expert has been completed, but the civil society's representative, the process is still ongoing. We've been involved in the evaluation of the conflict of interest of the applicant. I believe now the process is being put from the European Commission for the approval of the Parliament, with a nomination expected at the beginning of 2013. The members participating from the member states are not simply like members of the member states, but they are all experts in risk management, risk assessment, and the independent scientific experts are not necessarily linked to the national competent authorities, but they can come from academia, research centers, signal detection centers, and are experts in epidemiology, pharmacology, and risk communication. The PRAC elected the chair in 2012, actually in September, and you might know her very well. She was the former chair of the Pharmacovigilance Working Party, is June Rain from UK MHRA. And she says that the PRAC is set to play a pivotal role in delivering the public health benefits of the new European pharmacovigilance legislation. The ambition is to make sure that this unique opportunity to strengthen public health protection is fully realized for the benefit of all citizens in the European Union. And this is the aim of the PRAC, strengthen public health protection. What the PRAC does? The PRAC basically is the committee of the agency that is responsible for assessing and monitoring all the safety issues for human medicines. It doesn't do it, of course, on its own, but it relates with all the other committees of the agency to promote a smooth and harmonized decision-making process. And a specific mandate was also put in the legislation, specifying that a due regard to the therapeutic effect of a medicine shall be taken into consideration. So it's not only a committee that is focusing on risk, but it's focusing on risk in the context of the benefit of the medicine. What are the specific tasks? The PRAC is revising new safety signals that can arise from the analysis of databases of adverse drug reactions such as EudraVigilance or national databases, as well as the literature, for example. Then we have urgent and non-urgent union procedures, where a formal European procedure is triggered by a member state for a full review of a product. And we have two types. Basically, the main difference is the time frame to address the issue. One is a short procedure of 60 days, and the other one is a longer one. The PRAC assesses the risk management plan for every medicine. The PRAC also assesses the post-authorization safety study, but in terms of safety studies that are required, safety study protocols, and also the results of the safety study to see how the results will impact in the product information, in the use of the medicine, or in the risk management plan. The PRAC also assesses the periodic safety update reports that are available for a number of medicines. Recommendations or the needs of scope of for pharmacovigilance inspections are also one of the tasks. Basically, every company, as you know, needs to have a pharmacovigilance system in place, and the MEA coordinates the inspection of these sites to see that everything has been done following the legislation, and the legislation follows accordingly. On top of it, the committee also observe and maintain the list of the products that are under additional monitoring, and has recently recommended the adoption of a symbol for these products. This slide is a little bit complicated, but it's just to show you that there are, for every issue discussed at the PRAC, there are rapporteurs that are appointed on the basis of the best available expertise and complete the job of the rapporteurs that are nominated by the Committee for Human Medicines. And what we aim to do is to involve as many member states in being appointed as a rapporteur for a single product. So as much as 4 or 3 can be appointed. And we are talking here about 4 different people. Some of the recommendations of the PRAC that are actually his output together with the advice are transmitted to other bodies for consideration and to be uptaken in the decision-making phase. And here all the recommendations are transmitted in the end to the European member states and to the European Commission for those that concern the full European Union and for the centralized procedures. One of the novelty of the committee is the full level of transparency. The committee publishes all the full agenda before the meeting and the minutes of the meeting once they are adopted. We have also a more sort of a succinct and targeted to the public communication that are the meeting highlights, but I think Monica will talk about it extensively. And you can follow what is under discussion, which kind of follow-up discussion, and which conclusion are taken by the committee, simply going to the website. Also on the website, you will find extensive information about the members, the CV, the declaration of interest, and all the information about the tasks of the committee. I think this one was the last slide I had.
Thank you, Roberto, very much. So, any immediate question to Roberto? Albert?
Yeah, regarding the rapporteurs, will there be a site where you can see for which product for the rapporteurs, and also an overview about which agencies are rapporteurs and which agencies are, so that you can see the difference between the agencies?
We don't provide statistics and aggregate data, but all the rapporteurs allocated are reported in the minutes, so you can follow which is the... Yes.
Sabeta?
Just on the question on a signal detection, perhaps I've missed something, but how can you explain from now the experience that you've got in the committee, what is considered as a signal exactly? So, for example, do you need to have several reports first. So how is the agenda made? Because I think that is a very, to me at least, very obvious question. And how should we? What is the at least current?
So basically, there are processes that are described very well in that document that is called the Good Vigilance Practice for Signals, and also in the implementing regulation. The fact is that it can be, the signal can arise from every sources, and most of the signals now discussed on the agenda, but not all of them, have arisen by analysis of national database. So it can be even a single case, but maybe a case that is particularly serious, where there is the rapporteur or the assessor has established that there could be a strong causal relationship with the reaction. It may be also maybe a fatal case, and even a single case can constitute a signal. Then these signals is further validated requesting directly, if it's urgent, data to the company, liaising with other colleagues, and then it's triggered and it's requested that the PRAC discusses this signal.
In any case, we will have a full section on signals later on. So in case there is any additional clarification, we can take it over. Francois?
For the induction of the patients, consumers, and healthcare professional representatives in the PRAC when they will be appointed, as many rules have already been decided in the PRAC, does the PRAC envisage one day of training or explanation of how the PRAC has been working until now, or will just these new people join the PRAC and deal with the work and the business?
Well, on one side we have the reality, and on one side, no, we have what we would like to do. I must say, for the new appointed members of the commission, they've just been thrown into the business. But we have done a training for the Pharmacovigilance Working Party, so as soon as we receive the nomination, I expect we would do exactly the same, also to pilot a little bit more on what is expected from them and where they can contribute most, because the amount of work is very considerable, and it's very difficult already for a very experienced member to deal with it and to prioritize. So I think this is absolutely needed.
If I can add, maybe we have Richie and Albert here, but the feedback we got is that in principle the support training we provided was useful. Maybe not enough or whatever, but useful at least, and facilitated participation. And yes, we will try to put something similar in place. Richie.
In fact, what was quite useful was, of course, in the beginning it's very overwhelming, but is the fact that there's continuous assistance. So at every meeting we had in advance a conference call to go over the topics of the agenda and so on. And this is really something that should be maintained, and also that you have, for instance, after the PRAC meeting, a debriefing to detect the areas where difficulties were encountered. And so it's really, it's not a one-day training, I would say. It's a really continuous process there should be a lot of effort made to keep that process ongoing.